The Bible speaks of many places. Some are filled with light and hope. Others are filled with absolute darkness and despair. These are places of judgment and confinement. Today, we will explore two of the most terrifying. They are the Abyss and Tartarus. These names represent ultimate imprisonment for evil spirits, a chilling concept for many. These are not simply stories meant to scare. They are described as real places. They serve as a stark warning about the consequences of rebellion against divine authority. Let us first delve into the darkness of the abyss. The very word suggests a chasm with no bottom. A pit so deep, light cannot ever reach it. In the original Greek, the word is abyssos. It literally means bottomless or unfathomable. This illustrates its infinite and inescapable nature, a terrifying thought for any being. The abyss is a prison for demonic spirits. It is a holding place where they are confined, away from the world of humanity, waiting for a future judgment. In the Gospel of Luke, a story gives us a chilling glimpse. A man was possessed by many demons. They called themselves Legion, showing there were thousands of them. When Jesus prepared to cast them out, they begged him for something. They were not afraid of being sent away, but of where they might be sent. The demons pleaded with Jesus Christ, "Do not command us to go into the abyss." This shows even demons have an immense and profound fear of that place. Their terror reveals the abyss is a place of torment. It is so awful that roaming the earth was preferable to being confined within its unfathomable dark depths. The book of Revelation gives us more terrifying details. It describes the abyss being locked. An angel is shown holding the key to this bottomless pit. This shows that the abyss is a secure prison. Nothing can escape from it unless God allows it. It is under complete divine control and sovereign authority. In Revelation chapter 9, the pit is open for a time. What comes out is not just darkness, but a terrifying swarm of demonic locusts to torment mankind. These are not normal insects. They are described with horrible features. They had faces like men, hair like women, and teeth like the teeth of lions. Their only purpose was to inflict pain. They were commanded not to kill, but to cause 5 months of agony, a torment like a scorpion's sting. This paints a picture of the horrors contained within the abyss. It holds monstrous beings twisted by evil, waiting to be unleashed upon the unsuspecting world. The locust army from the pit also had a king. This ruler's name is given, a name that perfectly describes his nature and the nature of the pit. In Hebrew, his name is Abaddon. In the Greek language, his name is Apollyon. Both of these names mean the destroyer. He is the angel of the abyss. The abyss is therefore a realm of destruction. It is a place where everything good is absent, and only pain, despair, and a desire for ruin exist. The final appearance of the abyss is also in Revelation. It is shown as the temporary prison for the most powerful evil being of all, Satan himself. After a great battle, an angel will seize the devil. He will be bound with a great chain, and he will be cast into the bottomless pit. He will be imprisoned there for 1,000 years. The abyss will be locked and sealed over him, so he can no longer deceive the nations. This demonstrates the ultimate power over evil. Even the greatest enemy is subject to being locked away in this terrible place, completely powerless until his time is up. The abyss serves as a holding cell on a cosmic scale. It is a place of temporary punishment before the final day of judgment is finally carried out. The fear it inspires is based on its nature. It represents total loss of freedom, deep darkness, torment, and separation from everything good. A truly frightening place indeed. It is a realm entirely without God's benevolent presence. It is the definition of spiritual emptiness and despair, a place of unimaginable loneliness and profound spiritual suffering. The concept is a reminder of a spiritual reality. There are forces of evil, and there are consequences for their actions, which include confinement in this terrible place. The darkness of the abyss is not just physical. It is a spiritual darkness, a complete absence of hope, truth, and love, leaving only pure, raw hate. Imagine an existence without any light, a place where time drags on in torment. This is the picture the Bible paints of the horrifying, endless abyss. It is a symbol of divine justice, a place where evil is restrained and held accountable for its actions, awaiting a final and permanent sentencing from the Creator. Now, let us discuss an even more specific and perhaps scarier place. This place is called Tartarus. Its mention in the Bible is brief but very powerful. While the abyss is a prison for many demons, Tartarus is reserved for a specific class of offenders. It is the ultimate prison for a particular group of angels. The name itself comes from Greek mythology. In the ancient myths, Tartarus was a deep pit of torment, even lower than the underworld realm of Hades. The Bible borrows this term to describe something truly terrible. It is a place of judgment so severe, it was given this name to convey its unique horror. The Apostle Peter is the one who writes of it. In his second letter, he describes the fate of a certain group of angels who committed a terrible sin. Peter writes, "For if God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into Tartarus." This single verse paints a truly terrifying and very stark picture. He continues the description of their imprisonment. They were committed to chains of gloomy darkness, a phrase that evokes a sense of complete and utter hopelessness. They are being held there for the final judgment. Tartarus is their prison cell, where they wait for their final and permanent sentence to finally be carried out. The book of Jude also mentions these specific angels. It says they did not keep their own domain, but abandoned their proper abode, a very grave sin. Jude confirms their fate. He says they are kept in eternal bonds under gloomy darkness until the judgment of the great day. It is a permanent holding cell. This raises a question. What was their specific sin? Why were they singled out for a punishment that seems even more severe than the abyss's confinement? Many scholars believe these were the angels mentioned in Genesis chapter 6. They were called the sons of God, who sinned in the days of Noah. These angels came down to earth. They took human wives, a forbidden union that crossed a divine boundary. This was a rebellion of the highest and most serious order. Their offspring were the Nephilim. These were described as mighty men of old, giants, and their presence contributed to the great wickedness that filled the entire earth. This sin was so unnatural and corrupting. It was an attempt to defile the human race. God's response was swift and severe, leading to the great flood. For these specific angels, the punishment was Tartarus. They were immediately imprisoned in this dark place, unable to roam the earth or influence humanity ever again. This makes Tartarus a place of maximum security. It holds ancient and powerful beings whose sin was so great they were locked away from the rest of creation. Think about the level of darkness described. Chains of gloomy darkness. This is not just an absence of light, but an active, binding, and heavy form of darkness. It suggests a complete sensory deprivation, a place where these once glorious angelic beings are held in solitary confinement, bound by their sin and God's powerful judgment. The terror of Tartarus is its specificity. It shows that there are levels of sin and judgment. Some rebellions are so profound, they earn a unique and dreadful prison. If the abyss is a general prison for demons, Tartarus is the supermax facility. It is for the worst of the worst, the most dangerous spiritual criminals. The fact that God created such a place for angels is a chilling thought. It shows that no being is above the law of God, no matter how powerful. These beings were once in the presence of God. They experienced heaven's glory. Their current state in Tartarus is the most extreme contrast one could possibly imagine. From light to absolute gloom, from freedom to eternal chains, from glory to utter shame. This is the reality for the prisoners that are held in Tartarus. Their confinement serves as a powerful example. It is a warning to all other spiritual beings about the severe and certain consequences of high-level spiritual rebellion. Tartarus is not a place of rehabilitation. It is a place of holding. The beings there are not changing. They are simply waiting for their final, eternal punishment. Their fate is sealed. The chains are unbreakable. The darkness is impenetrable. They are completely cut off from all hope, awaiting only the final judgment from God. This place highlights the holiness of God. His justice is perfect and absolute. He will not allow such profound sin and rebellion to go unpunished forever. The very existence of Tartarus underlines the seriousness of sin. It shows that actions have eternal consequences, especially actions that seek to corrupt God's perfect creation. It is a place beyond human comprehension. The psychological torment of such confinement for thousands of years is something we cannot begin to truly understand or fathom. So, how do these two places differ? The abyss seems to be a broader holding place for many demonic spirits, with some coming and going by permission. Tartarus, however, is a one-way street. The angels who are cast in there have never been released, and the Bible says they never will be released. The abyss will be used to hold Satan for 1,000 years. But the angels in Tartarus have been there since the days of Noah, a much longer time. The prisoners are also different. The abyss holds general demons and will hold Satan. Tartarus holds a specific, named group of angels who committed a unique sin. It is also important to distinguish these places from hell. The Bible's final place of punishment is the lake of fire, which is also called Gehenna. The Abyss and Tartarus are temporary holding prisons. The lake of fire is the final eternal destination for Satan, his angels, and all who reject God's authority. So, after the final judgment, the prisoners of the Abyss and Tartarus will face their ultimate sentence. They will be cast into the eternal lake of fire. This makes their current state even more terrifying. They are in a horrible prison, with full knowledge that an even worse and final fate is still coming. It is a state of constant dread. They are living in torment, while anticipating an even greater and more permanent torment. There is no hope of a reprieve. These concepts show a structured spiritual world. There is order, law, and justice. There are courts, prisons, and sentences, just as in the human world. The terror of these places lies in their justice. It is a perfect justice from which there is no escape. The sentence is final and perfectly suits the crime. For humanity, these places serve as a solemn warning. They illustrate the dark reality of evil and the serious nature of turning away from God's divine plan. They show that evil is not a philosophical idea. The Bible presents it as a real force, with real beings who are held accountable for all their actions. The darkness of the abyss is a metaphor for spiritual blindness, a state of being completely lost, with no light or guidance, trapped in one's own evil. The chains of Tartarus are a metaphor for the binding nature of sin, how one act of rebellion can lead to an eternity of being bound and imprisoned. These are not pleasant subjects. They are meant to be unsettling. They are the darkest corners of biblical theology, describing the consequences of ultimate, unrepentant evil. They reveal the power of God. He is not only a God of love and mercy, but also a God of perfect justice who has full authority over evil. He holds the key to the abyss. He casts the angels into Tartarus. All of these dark realms are under his complete and total sovereign control. Evil is not running wild without limits. It is restrained, it is held accountable, and one day it will be judged and dealt with for all of eternity. The fear these places generate is a primal one. It is the fear of being trapped, of darkness, of pain, and of complete and utter hopelessness. It is the fear of total separation from the source of all life and goodness. A state of being that is the complete opposite of heaven's glorious light. The Bible presents a clear choice, a path of light and a path of darkness. Heaven is the destination on one path, which is full of light. The Abyss and Tartarus are landmarks on the other path. They show where rebellion and evil ultimately lead, to confinement, darkness, and final, irreversible judgment. The imagery is powerful and meant to be memorable. A bottomless pit from which smoke and monsters rise. Gloomy chains that bind powerful angels in the dark. These are not just places, but also states of being. A being in the abyss is in a state of torment. A being in Tartarus is in utter despair. This is why the demons begged Jesus. They knew the reality of that prison. They had seen it, and they were terrified of returning to that place. Their fear is perhaps the greatest testimony to the horror of the abyss. Even beings made of pure evil are desperate to avoid its terrible, dark grasp. The Bible's message is that these places are real. They are a fundamental part of the spiritual landscape, representing the consequence of a choice to rebel. They remind us that the spiritual battle is real. There are forces that have been judged and imprisoned, and others that are still active in the world. But the ultimate victory is assured. The one who holds the key to the abyss will one day lock all evil away forever in the lake of fire. In summary, the abyss is the bottomless pit, a prison for many demons, and a future temporary jail for Satan himself before his final, terrible judgment. And Tartarus is the even deeper prison, the maximum security holding cell for the specific angels who committed a terrible, world-altering sin in the ancient past. Both are places of darkness and waiting. They are terrifying previews of the final judgment that is to come for all unrepentant and evil spiritual beings. They are not the same place, but they serve a similar purpose. They are cosmic prisons, restraining evil and holding it accountable under the authority of God. They are distinct from the final hell, the lake of fire. They are the holding cells before the final sentence, which makes their existence even more dreadful. The stories of these places are woven into the Bible's grand narrative. They show the fall of powerful beings and the ultimate triumph of divine, perfect justice. The horror of the Abyss and Tartarus is a sobering thought. It highlights the immense gap between the goodness of heaven and the darkness of ultimate rebellion. They are the Bible's most terrifying places for a reason. They represent the complete absence of God's grace, mercy, and light, which is a terrifying thought. These concepts are a stark reminder of the gravity of sin. They demonstrate that evil has consequences, not just for humans, but for angels and demons as well. They serve as a final, sober warning. They show the ultimate end of rebellion. The Bible presents these places as a terrifying reality for evil spiritual beings.